Hey, welcome back to 15 Minutes in the Basement. Nick, and
This is Merrill.
we're back. Super excited to be back. Today's topic is a little bit different than the previous ones. Today's topic is on self help and mainly books and gurus and even I'll even go put in like
Faith healers?
faith healers.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, if you want anybody that's that tells you to use your mind to get stuff done and change your life and make your life better. Let's talk a little bit about fitness and losing weight. That's another thing that's on there. Um, that's in the same realm of change your life and make it better. And here's the tools and knowledge, right? They give you the knowledge, and
Uh,
so
the thing about fitness that's always been a little offensive to me is all of and it probably bleeds into self help and faith healing specifically is the easy answer, right? I wonder what percentage of these books, these publications are looking for the easy answer when a lot of things just take hard work and dedication on a proven path. I remember when I was in the peak of my shape. Yeah, we're bigger guys, but I got pretty fit.
dude, you were thin. You weren't just fit. You were thin
People would ask, "How did you do it?" And I said, "Oh, well, I ate less and I worked out a lot."
all the time.
I think it was a little more graphic in my uh, expletives back then, but I worked my off is probably what I said. But people didn't like that answer. They recoiled. Oh, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? What bar did you eat? What snack did you?
What
What super pill?
what diet?
Yeah, what
What
super
fad
pill?
diet?
I stopped eating a ton and I got in shape. I worked my butt off.
I ran 7 miles a day.
Oh, that's it. Oh,
Oh, I wanted. Yeah, well, I agree, but even more so for me, I in high school I picked up a book. It was called Seven Habits for Highly Effective Teens, and I read that book and it blew me away. It was like, this is right, this is true, this is how it happens. And it is. It really is. Problem. Here's my problem. And I I'm looking over at my shelf right now and I have at least 50 self-help, first thing first or Tony Robbins. I have like 6 Tony Robbins publications. I've got, even like in the sales realm, I got, Brian Tracy, and I can go through the names of books that I've read, and it would take the rest of the 15 minutes in the basement. But I'm not going to. What I'm
thank
going
you.
to say, what I am going to say though, is it can be dangerous to read these books because if you're not ready to actually put into practice and do the hard work, like you said, right? Those people are recoiling because they don't want to hear it. But the scary part is, I literally got addicted to reading these books. And while I'm reading them, I'm telling my mind, I am changing my whole life overnight. Here it goes. I read this book, it's the magic pill, and my life will change. And I will be what these books profess to allow you to become. As soon as I put the book down, I went back to my mind. My mind took over. I've dealt with depression for years. I've self medicated with these books, and it actually would sometimes, especially if you're not in the right state of mind, spiral your mental state because it it makes it even worse when you know what you're supposed to be doing and you don't do it.
Well, listening to these, usually if I ever do anything with self help, it's something I hear, some kind of audio tape or something to that effect. And I'm not really big into these books. I've maybe listened to one or two. One was about sales with Ziglar, and I think it was Tony Robbins and the other one, something like that. The big names, but they pump you up, right? So it's like an aphrodisiac. It's a boost to get you started, but it's the long haul that matters, right? So I guess if you're leaning on them for a daily boost, but you're not making any headway, it's
Now,
dangerous.
careful, daily. So to switch the pendulum, I didn't do it daily.
I'm not catching what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, you are what you fill your mind with. And like I mentioned, as soon as I put the book down, I'd go back to who I was before I picked the book up. And I wouldn't buy a new book or reread a book to get that daily fix and daily focus. I would literally get so far down in the dumps that I'd grasp at straws to get myself out of there. But once I felt like I had raised my mental state just enough to stay out of that darkness, I would stop reading self-help books and stop reading and looking for ways to improve myself. I would just say, I'm not like in dire straits. I'm good. And that a couple days later, you realize, okay, I didn't put any of that stuff into practice because I quit. It's like starting an exercise program or diet. It's the same thing. You diet for 3 days and you start to feel good, and then you slip up and you quit, and then you don't have any results, right? Or I did an exercise program for 3 weeks. I finally made it through the muscle soreness, and I could actually start doing it without having total like muscle soreness, and I stopped doing it. And then I'm back to square one, or even worse off. Does that make sense?
I mean, everything in life is about renewal in a positive, as long as you're on a positive track. So I guess what you're saying is you're failing in the long term by not keeping yourself motivated or uplifted to a point where you can continue forward, which is, I think, a fault everyone has. But the books in themselves don't appear to be the problem. It's the absence of willpower or placing in your mind the right information, thoughts, or input that would give you the strength to move forwards, right? So is it the absence of the books as a problem? I mean, you use them as a crutch, right? And that's what these guys make millions of dollars off of. They're looking for people who need a crutch, and maybe they're speaking truth, meaning that if you were to follow their plan consistently, you would get to where you'd like to be, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they're all deceitful. Some of them are a little quacky, I would say. But you should constantly be feeding your mental. Is this a spiritual thing, a mental thing? I mean, what are we talking about here?
And they kind of coincide, in my opinion. You know, the spiritual feeds the mental. Like, your spiritual state is your mental state. Like, they both work together. But my main problem is, it's the book itself, or the idea, or the thought, or the event. You know, they put on those events and do the speaking and da-da-da. Now, of course, just to be fair, Tony Robbins just say that he puts on his events for like week at a time, so that you can fully immerse yourself, not just have an hour presentation or 2 hour presentation and get that, you know, little bump up and then it's gone. He wants you to immerse yourself so that you can feel what it's like prolonged. I obviously don't have the money to do that, and let alone I don't want my ears to bleed. Tony's kind of gone the way of swearing a lot in his presentations these days, which I understand. He's explained that it's to get people's reactions and snap people out of a normal state or whatever. But to me, it just, the people that swear a lot in my life just don't have the vocabulary to express themselves in a manner that is powerful without the swearing. So I just think that my kind of take is, be careful. Be careful that you're in a state of mind before you pick up the book that you've made a predecision to do something else with your life than what's going on. so that you can build on it with the book, and maybe set a schedule or something to continually feed your mind. You know, all the gurus, and to be fair, I'm writing my own self-help book right now. So
You can tell this topic is skewed heavily for Nick. I don't have much to do with self-help books.
yeah, well, it kind of comes with my territory, trying to self-medicate depressive attitude. And
Here's the thing. I'm thinking as you're speaking about the issue that you brought up in the beginning. These books being used as a crutch could be detrimental.
yeah,
But if you think of someone who's left to themselves, so even sensory deprivation studies, without interactions with others, without thoughts being exchanged, you atrophy. So books, traditionally books, now a lot of the time media is what people are feeding themselves, right? So that exchange of ideas, and you can move an idea forward that you never would have thought of without someone else's input. So something that in your mind space did not exist until you read or heard or saw something could be something that changes your life and becomes your life purpose. So those interactions in these books that you've read, they could plant a good seed or a bad seed. I think as humans, we're looking for answers, we're looking for direction, purpose, and the issue that I think you're trying to get at is if you spend your time looking for a path that makes you happy without actually gathering the information, looking within, and finding a sustainable path for success for yourself. So basically, comparing your life to what Tony Robbins spouts off, right? He can get you pumped up, but if you can't sustain it, you can't be happy with what he's proposing. So I think each person has their own level, their own challenges, their own difficulties. The danger lies in taking in all that information, not processing it correctly for what you're able to do in your life with your skill set.
okay, yeah, I agree. It literally getting all that information and knowing or feeling like you think you know the answers to your problems, and you're just not putting them into any type of action, and part of your path, like you said, you haven't defined your path, and there's a lot of voices out there, and it can get convoluted.
Not every path is for you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
So someone could write a self-help book that could really further someone's life in a certain subset of people. But if it's not something that is compatible with your skill set, with your current level of growth, it could be detrimental, meaning that you expect yourself to be able to do what they're saying is possible, but you're not quite there.
yeah, and that's been me for a lot of years. And but to second what you just said, you read a book and it plants a seed. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be, but even if it was a good seed that you weren't ready for, maybe later on in life, it can resurface, because now that space in your mind is housing that information. And I think that if you can make it through the dangers of, or just continue, just hold on to, move forward in life, maybe one day, maybe my self-help book will help somebody because of all the stuff I've read, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's not as dangerous as I was proposing at the beginning.
Yeah, you're writing the danger yourself, huh?
Yeah.
If your path is going to harm someone or put them in Nick said this would be the path, but I can't follow that path right now. I'm not ready, or I'm not able to, right? Oh no, I'm now depressed. So you could be a part of the problem. I think the important thing is, things are either positive or negative as far as outcome. and currently what can you